All right. Hello, everybody. Let us make sure all is well. And it is live from Denver. It is Friday night. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Critical Conversations, the show where you get to talk to us. Us being me, Chris Shelton, and my beautiful wife, Melissa.
Hello.
And we are, of course, semi-happy to be here today with you. I'm joking. We're very happy to be with you guys. Hey, critics, I see you all in the comment section. And yeah, good old Big Blue. My goodness, 95 degrees in LA today while there was sleet in England. I gotta say, I really love having an international audience.
Yeah.
Because I get to find out things like that.
Yeah.
In just a little moment.
All over the world.
The miracle of our modern world. I mean, it really, I sometimes you have to stop and marvel at it a little bit because we don't realize how far it's been such a gradual change for us through the years that you got to stop and smell the roses sometimes, I guess, appreciate, the good things. And we are settling in.
Yes.
You can see I got, it kind of looks almost, I've got it almost
Similar.
back up to how it was before. The lighting and, the things you don't see, of course, are very different. And I think there's some static coming through sound-wise. If that is happening during the live stream here, it was happening before we went live. I apologize for that. Just working on... get in each other's way, and I don't know how else to describe or talk about that or how to debug that, but I'll see if I can figure it out. Yeah, I hate that static. I think it's somehow coming from here, but I'm not sure why. Because everything is set up exactly like it was before. So I'm confused. I am confused. But we're in a house now. We got a basement below us. There could be other things.
Yeah, there might be sound things we need to fix.
Yeah.
Things we need to hang on the wall or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, on the staticky stuff, that is on our end, and I'm just not sure what that is. Thetans are statics, right? That's right. We have too many Thetans up here in this house right now, up in here. The Love Ninja. You guys are hilarious. Yeah, we are in a house now. We have moved. We have settled. We're settling in, but it's a house, and so it's windows with curtains. I've been doing a lot of curtains this week, and setting things up, and hardwood floors, which are big feature.
Excellent.
Yep, we really do love our hardwood floors. But they are not conducive to, they're far too conducive to sound. Oh, hey, B, thank you very much for that super chat.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. I very much appreciate it. Yeah, maybe a cable, might be something else. I will definitely see what's up with all of that, with this thing, because something's up. Maybe it has to do with where the computer's at. I'm really not sure. It's these little things that just mess with you and take forever to figure out. Hopefully not too much forever. Yeah, I could do that a little bit, but not too much on the gain on these things. Yeah, and we've got carpet. That was the whole point with the hardwood floors, is that in here I've got a big, 7x10 carpet, and you've got an office now. You're setting up for yourself.
Getting some furniture for in there.
Yeah. It's slow, but steady wins the race, I guess. We got a lot of work to do, but we are really, really enjoying it. And the experience of it, the location of it is so much better than where we were before. We liked our location before. There was a lot of good stuff there, but it was a little far south
from everybody.
So now we're a little closer to everybody else, and we're pretty happy about that. And I've been this is a neighborhood you were in.
I've been in this neighborhood off and on like my whole life. So
yeah,
pretty much. I mean, not this exact neighborhood, but the north side of town, Westminster, Arvada, North Denver. Yeah.
So these are your old stomping grounds, in other words. Whereas for me, it's all new. And so out the whole where the streets and where everything is and all of that. But I've been up here a few times before because you used to live up here. So anyway, getting used to it all. I'm not going to bore you guys forever with all of this, but just the moving, the fun of moving, the anxiety of moving, the expense of moving, the time, the consumption of moving. I mean, the whole first week, I wasn't really getting any work done. I got my clips posted, and that was about it. And I was just settling in and setting up and trying to get the place livable and get the boxes unloaded and stuff. Now things are smoothing out. So here we are joining you all once again, and we are going to get on with our topic.
Yeah, and just to answer Teresa's question, the rents are ridiculously high in Denver. So are the housing prices. Something like the average house in Denver proper, not Denver Metro, but Denver proper is like 600, 700,000 or something like that. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. And this is not a purchase. We are renting.
Yeah, we're just renting. We got a good deal, but rent around here is
cray. So, Denver's housing market and renting market for years now has been...
Yeah, the last 10 years, it's just been going up and up and up.
It has been a bit nuts. No question about that. But yes, fixing up the house is half the fun. That's right. Yes. Do you?
Yes, I do have a quote.
Good. So we are going on to the quote section of our thing here. Yes. Speak toward the mic.
So this is by an unknown author, but you were born to be real, not to be perfect.
Huh.
Yeah. I like that one because it's like, none of us are perfect. We should try to be ourselves, but we can't be perfect.
No, I don't think. I think perfect is the opposite of humanity. That's just, that just does not, perfection and humanity do not gel. They don't go well together. He's
not sure if it's making a difference. And now I can't remember the guy's name, but there's this guy. I listened to This American Life today. I don't know when this episode aired, but very recently. And there was a guy that created a phone calling service so people that speak proper Russian can call people in Russia. And they've been doing it for a while now. They've called like 100,000 people or something. But you can call people in Russia if you speak Russian and tell them what's really going on in Ukraine.
Really?
Yeah, he started this service. Yeah.
Huh.
And he's a native Russian speaker too, I think, but he doesn't live in Russia anymore. But I thought that was very interesting.
I think that's fascinating. Yeah. I'm gonna say that, and again, I apologize, Dylan and others, for the static on this one. I know it came across a little light when we were doing pre-show, so I figured we'd all kind of live with it, but I definitely apologize. I am sometimes floored and always happy when I see counter propaganda measures or people who are aware of the fact that we live in a propaganda world where there's an awful lot of influence peddling going on of covert and overt nature. And when we see moves and recognition of that and people overcoming that or that's a thing and we're going to deal with it with this, I'm always so happy. It makes me so happy because I don't know, sometimes I start feeling a little alone in my work. But anyway, that's great. That kind of thing is exactly the kind of stuff I love.
Yeah, and it was just part of this episode about people helping each other in interesting ways, and then that was like maybe the fourth story in, and I was like,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like that's a really cool thing to do, a really interesting way, because I guess in Russia, everybody's phone number is public, so it's really easy to find people's phone numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's pretty cool. Gurur, I have explained that many times on my Q&A show, so I'm not going to do that today. We're not going to do a Scientology Q&A today. But yes, that there is something up with that. Okay, we're just gonna kind of cope through this show and hope that it goes better than worse. Okay, cults and criminality. Let's start talking about the theme of the show for this week. I brought this up and started bringing this up and talking about this because of things that were on my mind, of course. I got to start writing this week. I am in a book project, a writing project with a co-author, and we are writing a book, and it is involved with Scientology and criminality. And so it's kind of been on my mind this week, and it was really great to get back to work and get to writing again, even though it is sometimes hard to do. There's a big difference as a writer between having ideas and wanting to write and then sitting down and doing it. Sometimes there's a chasm there, even though you really don't understand it or understand why it's there or what's going on. But that is a problem that happens sometimes with writers, and it happens with me. But it was great to get onto it again. And so I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about my interview with Jen Kiaba a couple weeks ago, where she described as a child in the Moonies, growing up in the Moonies, how she was labor trafficked and carted around in a van with 6 other minor girls by an adult male, and they were driving around the countryside, living out of a van, selling trinkets for dollars, and accumulating money. One of thousands of such groups of minors being trafficked, so as to bring money into this Mooney organization and to the Moon family. Sun Myung Moon, the leader, he died a few years ago, but they're still the family, and they've kind of split the whole thing up between them, I guess, in some fashion. And one of them is a gun-worshipping cult. Now, literally, every photo has M16s and whatnot. So it's a pretty nuts kind of organization that was kind of thrust into my face through Jen, talking to her about her experiences. And of course, then we have Scientology, which is rife with criminality, from credit card fraud to assault and various other things that go on behind the scenes. Today's podcast is about violence in the Sea Org and Scientology, and I quote from some Hubbard in it, so you guys might enjoy the podcast this week. It's pretty short, it's less than an hour, but I talk a bit about Will Smith and the slap, and then get into violence in Scientology. And so what we talked about some last week is in the podcast this week for the Will Smith stuff. I thought I should get that to a broader audience. But in terms of criminality, you have a lot of it, so much of it, in a group like Scientology or the Moonies, these destructive cults that we're always going on about. Some of them are true criminal operations that I believe are really just kind of using the cult front. Like the cult itself becomes a front group for the criminal operation that's actually going on behind the scenes that is the true cult. Or the true operation. And all these foot soldiers and all these people in the front group in the cult, they're not even aware of their status. It kind of like the day I realized, going down the rabbit hole, oh, I've been a pawn on this chessboard that David Miscavige and L. Ron Hubbard, have been playing me, have been moving me around. It's that exact concept that is true for Jen as a child being trafficked, right? You're doing this because it's a holy thing to be doing. It's a sacred trust that you are, representing the Unification Church and going out and spreading the word and showing by example and leading by example and all this bullshit that they lay on these kids to get them to go out and sell trinkets so that they can make money. And it's all about the money, and the money side of it is so exact and precise and controlled that you realize that this is not about religion. This is about the money. And that's why I started talking years ago about Scientology being a money-making scam, you know, as others, as Jeffrey Augustine and Tony and others have also said, right, that this, you know, that is the front group, is Scientology is the front group, kind of, for this mafia criminal-like operation going on behind the scenes. The Sea Org did keep an armory, Gurroor, yes, speaking to this in this vein. Yeah, absolutely. There are guns on Pac Base at Big Blue and at the Gold base, and they are kept under lock and key, and security has the lock and the key. And yeah, that's definitely a thing. There are Sea Org members who own their own guns. It's certainly at Big Blue, I believe also at Gold, but they are required, at least when I left, they were all required to have those turned in to security, and they could come check them out if they were going to go, you know, on the gun range or something. Thank you, Gurroor, for that. Very much appreciated. And that was a good question. So yeah, you do see guns there. And during, for example, the 91, I think it was the 91 Rodney King riots, right? When everything was going to hell in Los Angeles and nobody was really sure how long it was going to last or what was going to go down. That during that time, the guns came out, and they actually had Sea Org members up on the roof of Big Blue and around the base patrolling and armed. And so they do have guns, and they are not afraid to use them. However, I will stress that I've answered the question before, that it's not a suicide situation, or you know, they're all going to get all the guns and they're going to kill each other or something. I don't see Scientology in that light, and I don't think most Scientologists would give over to, yeah, let's all kill each other now. I don't see that end result. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, there were some guns around in the Sea Org in the early 70s too. I understand that there was one of the commanding officers of the advanced org at Big Blue used to carry a sidearm. Jeez. Used to walk around with a gun just on, which is kind of interesting. But he was considered idiosyncratic. He was definitely considered a person apart. You know, nobody was really thinking that was the cool thing to do. They thought he was a weirdo, right? So there's a lot of Scientologists who are not into guns at all and not into violence at all. But in the Sea Org, which is what I go over in the podcast. Okay. And let me just make sure that we have... Do we have... just want to make sure we have sound right now. Yeah, we're good. I for whatever reason, this is experiencing some connection issues, and I can hear that from time to time, and it always makes me a little nervous about that. Really thought I had everything set up quite well, and I've done some live streams from here, but today it's just being kind of goofy, and I'm not really sure why.
Because it feels like it.
Basically. Anyway. Is a thing, and I think that it is so much a thing that it's actually a subject in itself. I wouldn't go so far as to say that all destructive cults are really just a front for a criminal operation. That's clearly not true. There are lots and lots of cults that just stay on their mission or focus or purpose, and they don't go off into financial entanglements or weirdnesses, although there's usually some kind of obsession with money in these groups. That is one of the key characteristics that we look for is exorbitant amount of attention put on money or sex or influence or, you know, the other kind of things that people get up to. Maybe it's a poltergeist.
Did you just see it blink?
Did it?
The image on the screen there just blinked.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know if anybody else saw it. Maybe I was imagining. I don't know, but
maybe it was that poltergeist.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Paranormal. I think I watched Poltergeist probably 10 times and read the book.
Oh, I never read the book.
Yeah, I read the adaptation. Oh yeah, no, good question. Okay, and also along the same lines here, Gurroar. So definitely on topic. Can you refuse to do something deemed illegal or bordering on illegal when in Scientology? Repercussions if you do. Um, yeah, that is kind of meta, isn't it? Thank you for that question, Gurroar. Yeah, no, you don't get to refuse to do things. Now, um, I mean, yes and no. It depends on what level you're at and the context of the situation. Okay. There are times and there are circumstances where, yes, you can push back. You could be in a class 5 org, for example, and you could have somebody flat out say, no, I'm not going to do that. It's illegal. And if it's true, right, then the Sea Org member or the staff member demanding that would probably, when you say it that bluntly, right, would probably back off if it were, or if it could be shown that it is. However, I brought up that it was illegal to open mail that was coming into the organization. And I actually brought that up one time when I was in Santa Barbara to the ED. I was like, hey, you're opening the mail. That's not cool. It's illegal. And he was like, okay. So he went off and looked up some policies. And one of the policy letters in Scientology is that when mail arrives to the organization, regardless of who it's addressed to by name, if it's coming to the organization's address, which is not a residential address, then they open all the mail because they're looking for checks, right? Income. It's all about the income. So the policy says that that HCO, the mail guys, open the mail. He goes over to the legal officer, the DSA, and goes, is this illegal? Is there some legal law against this? And he goes, no, there's not. This is a business. This is how, it's classified as an organization, not a residence. And so mail comes here, we're opening it, right? Because this is our place. And the policy says to do it too. So that's why we're going to do it. So it turns out it wasn't illegal, at least not in the context as it was presented to me. Mm-hmm. But I made that accusation and I was, then confronted on, who the hell do you think you are? And here's what the policy says, and shut the fuck up, right? So yes, you can make the accusation, and yes, you can get a result with that. However, there are going to be situations such as registration, sales things, or credit card things, or basically, I'm going to say when money's on the line, where if you say, well, this is credit card fraud, we can't do this, then the immediate reply back to you is going to be, fuck you, what's your solution? We need this money, figure it out. If you don't want to do it this way, you figure out how to do it, but you get it done. And that'll be the order, right? So the senior's not ordering you to do something illegal, but basically the pressure being put on you, and if the circumstance or context of charging somebody's credit card without their authorization, or applying for credit cards for a person, signing for them, getting them approved, and then charging them, and the person never even knows about this. That's happened.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's happened a lot of times in Scientology.
And then has anyone ever sued Scientology over that?
Well, yeah, there have been sued for fraud, and that's where that whole battle of having to go get the arbitration happened. Scientology has been engaged, according to word on the street and Tony's blog, etc., that Scientology has recognized the depths of its depravity in terms of criminal credit card fraud and stuff. In other words, it got exposed. And they've been doing massive cleanup, going around with big missions to all of their organizations and refunding money or otherwise handling it and fixing the books, so to speak, right? Because they have records and they fix those records. It's all a computer system, the computerized finance system, and cleaning house of all of the people who were doing that stuff. So are they turning over a new leaf? Of course not. It's Scientology. Let's be real. But they are trying to make an apparency of cleaning up the most obvious, easy to find crap because it's being reported on. And they got done busted for that. So I want to remind everybody, call-in show, 984-214-4154. And I see Travis in the queue, so we're going to pick this up. Hello, you are on.
Hello, Chris. Hello, Melissa.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to the show, Travis.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I have a Scientology question here, and it's actually in reference to some earlier videos that you did when you first started your channel, Chris. I've seen as you were describing cults and criminality, I made a connection in my mind, and let me take a minute and explain what I'm talking about. You had made a series of videos about the organizational madness of Scientology. And how self-destruction is in its DNA.
Yeah, my very first
do you remember?
videos. Yep.
They're very good, too, by the way. They're very instructive.
Thank you.
The video that I'm thinking of is the video where L. Ron Hubbard talks about acceptable lies. Or an acceptable truth, excuse me.
Acceptable truths, that's right. I think that was a PR. I was doing something on PR on that video. If I remember right.
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the point of that video is that that PR of propagating acceptable truths is that deception is inherently proper whenever it's deemed so by Scientology. Is that correct?
Yeah. That's right. Whatever is necessary and justifies the means kind of thinking. Yeah.
Okay. And is it proper for me to assume that this is a foundational aspect of Scientology itself?
Oh, very much
that
so.
PR that we're referring.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll find, and by the way, you'll find this attitude rife throughout destructive cults. The self-rationalization and justification demands a sort of circular logic where everything has to come back to, the dogma of the group.
Okay, combine that PR series, or is it a series, or it's a single note, or it's a single letter, isn't it?
No, well, there's the acceptable truth comes out of a single policy letter, but there is a series called the PR series. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and in that series, it also talks about destroying someone utterly if they're against the tech. Did I remember that correctly?
That actually is back in 1955. That's an earlier issue called The Dissemination of Scientology or something like that.
Remember it verbatim. You've slept since then. Yeah, my thought here is that considering that those two things are, let's say, foundational to Scientology itself, that essentially sets up the entire framework of let's do whatever the heck we want to, however we want to, and let's just not get caught, and then we'll just lie about it the entire time.
You got it.
And
you got it.
Is that okay?
Yep.
That's straight up mafia tactics right there, in my mind.
Exactly. Exactly. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this the kind of thing that you were exposed to early on, and you did you think much of it, or did you think that this is negative? I mean, you do now naturally, but while you were in, what was your thought about it?
Yeah, no, great question. It's a gradual thing. It sneaks up on you. It's not an on-off switch. I would say it's more of an incremental climb into this worldview, and the worldview being that your group, your activity, this thing you're doing is more important. This is how I would think about it and how we would talk about it, is it's more important than anything else going on. It's senior too, and you're aided in this by writings such as L. Ron Hubbard saying Scientology is the one thing senior to life itself, because it explains all of life, right? So that's his little, this is more important than anything, even life. And you hear these things and they process in. And what it takes is those euphoric experiences to kind of set it in glue or reinforce it. You're like, yeah, this is making me this is so good, so amazing, so incredible. And you easily forget when you're in that headspace about all the negatives, about all the times it's not working, about all the times that that it didn't fly. You'd forget all that. You remember the hits, you forget the misses, like with psychics. So that is a gradual process, I think. And that was how it was for me, and I think that's how I've seen it with others, if that makes sense.
It does. And as you're describing this, the parallel that comes into my mind is the book 1984. And what I'm referring to specifically from that book is that Winston Smith, the main character, has to profess his love for Big Brother.
Yep.
And at some point, he becomes convinced of this. And now, all your viewers have probably seen this, but at the end of the book, after all the beatings and all the mental funny business, he loves Big Brother, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And it was a gradual process.
That's right.
And it sounds to me like you were in a very similar headspace. You loved not Big Brother, but L. Ron Hubbard.
You got it.
Okay.
That's right.
Now, tell you what, sometimes I get things right. Okay.
Cool, man.
Okay. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. Thanks for calling. Bye-bye. Cool. Yeah, 984-214-4154. Feel free to call in if you have questions or comments or things you want to talk about with this, or anything, really. We're wide open for any conversation. I know Mel loves questions. She does. Speaking of, I see you, Gurroar, asking your good questions here, and you asked one earlier I wanted to come back to real fast. Tori mentioned that they would compartmentalize a lot of their illegal acts so as to dupe people into carrying them out. Did you see this happen? Absolutely, I did. Yeah, all the time, especially in hindsight when you know what both ends of the thing are. Whereas when you're in it, you don't know, right? So you're only told this much. And so you go do this much, right? And like I was saying with the Moonies earlier, here you are out there thinking you're propagating the religion, you're, leading by example, you're a hard, dedicated worker for God and for Moon. And really all you are is a pawn, being utilized for the lowest grunt level work for as long as you're good to do it. And as soon as you collapse or fall down or refuse to do it, you're out of the way and they'll plug somebody else in there. And that's really how much use you have. So you don't see that when you're in that position because you are brainwashed into thinking that you are doing something entirely different. And that's all that social conditioning and self, deception that we engage in when we really need to believe things and when we need them to be true because of those emotional commitments and emotional needs that we've got. So that's kind of how that works in an example of that. In Scientology, I don't know, saw hundreds of them, people being told only what they needed to know, or, this is a big operation. This is a big program we're doing. I don't have time to explain everything to you. This is your role. Go do it. Right. And you would actually, I was part of that process unwittingly, at each level. That's, if anything, if there's any genius to Scientology, it's the genius of deceiving, an entire criminal operation and every level of it, except the very top, actually thinks they're doing something radically different than what they're doing. That's the genius part as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, that does require quite an ability to manipulate.
Yeah, big time. And keep the manipulation happening.
Going, yeah.
And I believe that one of the reasons we see shrinkage over time with Scientology is not only the violence and the extremism and the nonsense, but the simple fact that people just can't keep that headspace going. It's just it just defies so much logic and reason over so much time that you either have to enter into this cloistered headspace where you're ignoring 90% of what's going on around you to maintain the viewpoint, or you finally break out of it and, oh my God, and then you're under the radar, and then finally you're all the way out, Okay, so there was that point. And then there was another one you also asked, Gurur. Does Scientology ever report illegal activities disclosed during auditing to police, or is it always handled with Scientology ethics? That, too, is a great question on topic here. And I have never seen with my own two eyes a criminal act reported to the police by Scientology. So not in front of me, they didn't. However, I have taken part in and was witness to criminal acts disclosed that we kicked the person out of the church. We didn't go report him, but we said, yeah, no, you're not going to be we can't have you being a Scientologist while you're out stealing cars every day, right? It's not going to work, right? Or while you're actively, cheating on your wife, yeah, we're going to have to deal with that, right? Like, you're going to have to knock that off. Well, I can't. Well, it's going to be one or the other. So you decide. So there was that kind of thing.
Who knew cheating could save you from Scientology?
Yeah, right?
Can't come in here unless you give up your girlfriend. I'm not giving up my girlfriend, too bad.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Well, there was plenty of that. Okay, so yes, the only reason I'm sitting here fumbling around a little bit in this answer is because of Kevin Trudeau. Kevin Trudeau ended up in jail. I don't think because Scientology reported to the police, though. I'm not sure what happened with that, but Kevin Trudeau was trying to do some criminal stuff, got involved with Scientetics and Scientology at Big Blue. He was around there. And this is a scammer. This guy has run like so many scams on TV and infomercials, and he was one of those guys, coming up in the 90s. And he got involved in selling Dianetics, and I think it was some kind of discounted crim thing, and the church wasn't down with that, and so they kicked him out.
Okay.
And yeah, he was declared type. I think a criminal is type B. I think that's a type. There's an A to J. There's type A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J of types of people or types of activities that will get you kicked out. And being an active criminal is one of them, right? So it's funny how you have this, you have this criminal organization that is very sensitive to any kind of anything that would draw attention to itself is really kind of what's going on. But the facade is we're a bunch of upstanding, moral, lawful citizens who have this, deep purpose to be law-abiding citizens. And that's not what's going on. It's such a house of mirrors, that place, Okay, so 984-214-4154 is the call-in number. I'm just going to keep throwing that out there. And I think I have caught up on any of the questions that were coming along. The mindset is, to me, the most interesting part of the whole thing. The organizational structures of how you build a criminal operation like a mafia organization and then slap a religion on front of it and have all this religious cloaking and all this other nonsense going on. That is really fascinating stuff. But to me, it's even more interesting the psychology of the individuals involved and how they accept this criminal environment and reframe it as something different. The Regis, the salespeople, when they're out at somebody's place at 2 a.m, and trying to get them to buy that auditing or buy those books or packages or whatever, and it happens every week in Scientology, I guarantee you, right now. Yesterday, because today's Friday, last night, Wednesday night, people were up all night trying to make money for Scientology, right? And they do it because they really think they're saving the world. They're making a difference. They're doing something. Maybe it's not even saving the world. Maybe it's I'm selling you auditing and I'm saving you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not all about saving the world all the time, but, you know, I'm going to help you out.
I want to help as many people as possible.
Exactly, right? And they really think in their heart of hearts, they really believe that's what they're doing by demanding at 2 a.m, knocking on this person's door. I got to sell you this auditing. You've got to get up the bridge. You don't understand. This is so important. This is your life. This is your eternity. This is more than just your life.
My sleep is important.
Your sleep. We need to talk. We need to secure your eternity.
Right.
That is what we need to do. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go, Wendy. There you go. That's right. Brother Steele to pay off his auditing fees. Yeah, they don't really care how they get the money as long as they get it. As long as you're not in their face about it. I mean, I obviously different events happen in different places at different times, and some people have more of a tolerance in the world of Scientology for blatant criminality than others do. So we can hear all the stories from across the spectrum on this, but the policy of the church, which is what I'm speaking from, and the in the main, they don't condone active criminality right in front of them. And yet those same fucking people will then commit credit card fraud and be totally fine with it and not think about it as credit card fraud. So really the trick here, where we're getting to with this, the trick is how can they reframe it so it's not a criminal act? And if they can't, then they have to deal with the criminality of it. But they're so good at the reframe of it. This isn't credit card fraud. This is securing your eternity.
Yeah.
It's that
They're helping you.
Exactly. I'm going to help you even if I have to kill you, right? Like I'm going to save the world even if I have to, kill a few people. I don't know. Guru Roar, that is a great question. I am more than curious about that myself. Marty Rathbun, here asking here, how does someone like Marty Rathbun, who admitted to destroying parts of Lisa McPherson's files, not get prosecuted for that? Isn't tampering with evidence illegal? Yeah, you're goddamn right it is. And I was really surprised that there weren't repercussions for that. I don't know if admitting to it in a podcast is official enough or something, or... but he did it more than there. This is newspaper reportings. It's certainly on TV, but I don't know. I don't know about statute of limitations. I don't know about what's the word? I don't know jurisdiction. I don't know about jurisdiction, and I don't know about what attorneys generals need in order to bring charges. I don't know how much evidence they need. Do they need more evidence than the guy just saying it? Obviously, when you're talking about tampering with evidence and destroying it, how you've destroyed the evidence. So I'm not sure how that works or what the decision-making process is there.
Like the government in general is hesitant about going after religions and.
Well, that's for damn sure. I mean, I could see why Florida might be reticent to go after Scientology on the Lisa McPherson case again, when so much money and so much time was invested in that as far as the state of Florida is concerned, and the county or city where it happened. I think Pinellas County or wherever Clearwater is. There's a lot of money involved in doing prosecution. So they also have to factor that into their equation of thinking too. And taking on Scientology is never, ever, ever going to be something that is going to be remunerative for somebody. I mean, you are going to pay and pay and pay taking on Scientology legally, and that includes state governments or county governments. So budgetary concerns are, believe it or not, part of the picture. It's It's not just the right or wrongness of the offense, but it's the seriousness of the offense, the individual involved, the evidence to hand, and, budgetary concerns. And religion, which, when you get into that, people start losing their damn minds. They really do. Okay, so there is that.
Yeah.
All right. Again, 984-214-4154. If you want to call in, now is the time, because we will be probably closing off the lines in about 5 minutes or so. And how is Scientology not an MLM scam? Because there's an actual product there that they are selling, and there are services, and those services are delivered. It is not multi-level marketing. The anatomy of the scam with MLM is different. I've done podcasts on that with real MLM professionals, and you can check those podcasts out. I think I've done 2 or 3 of them on multi-level marketing schemes and how culty they are. They are so culty, and so criminal. Oh, they are the worst. But Scientology is not really that. Scientology's business model or criminal model is much more parallel with a mafia structure.
Okay.
Much more. It's not it wouldn't be an MLM. Guru is the best questions. You first.
Well, I'd say someone that's probably the people that are around my age, I guess, would be like maybe Christina Ricci or Mila Kunis or something like that.
Oh my God, that would be awesome. Wow. I always get tongue-tied, whatever, when people ask me who should play me. I have no ability to answer. I have no ability to answer that question. I always am too embarrassed about it. Ben Stiller, I don't know. I mean, he's kind of older, so probably too old to play me now. But maybe Ben Stiller's son. I don't know.
Well, he's probably too young because what is Ben Stiller's probably 50 something. I don't know.
Yeah. I think he's 50 something. I think he and I are pretty close in age, but.
To play throughout the years.
Earlier,
yeah, you'd have to have more than one actor play you if they're going to.
Probably. Yeah. I say Ben Stiller actually literally because a number of people in my life have walked up to me and thought that I looked like Ben Stiller. Excuse me. I did not bring a Coke this week, so.
I just don't know enough young actors to think about who would play the younger version of you.
Oh man, I don't even know any of them anymore.
I know,
right? I'm so out of the loop on all of that. You know who actually, hang on, let's back up. Tom Holland would do a really good job playing me.
Yeah, he'd be
as a young, wide-eyed, ready to rock Scientologist, young staff member going in the CU org. He would do great because he's got that ability to get that like wide-eyed, wondering look, and also he's very he can be somebody you would sympathize with and understand where he's coming from. I would, if I was going to choose a younger, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Yeah, I'll take that one. Okay, cool. There we go. Okay, good. I finally developed an answer that actually makes sense to me now. Oh, good. There's a call in the queue. Let us pick this up before it's too late. It looks like it's Henny.
Hi.
Hey, Henny. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Hello, you two.
Hello.
And hi, Melissa. I thank you very much for having me. And what an interesting topic, and there's so much criminality in Scientology.
Yes.
I cannot believe that they have gotten away for so long with their shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really quite amazing, and at their skill. Because the criminality is just unbelievable. Even what they did with. You see now, Chris, I'm not that familiar with the gentleman's name, but I know that he was a politician in Clearwater, and they tortured him. I heard about that through Karen Delacquier.
Yeah, you're talking about Gabe Caceres, I think his name was, the mayor of Clearwater.
That's exactly who I'm speaking about.
Yeah, they tried to set him up with a hit and run.
I mean,
Wow.
they're so criminal from start to finish, as well as insane. But I mean, they really are. They really are a criminal organization.
Yeah.
And they continue to take money and manipulate people's minds and fuck with the children. It's just incredible. It's incredible how they get away with that. Aside from that, I wanted to tell you what happened to me today very briefly.
Please.
I was walking. Thank you. I was walking. And I'm having not such a great week, but I'm hanging in there. And I hope that all the critics are hanging in there, and I hope you two are hanging in there with your new home.
We are,
and,
thank you.
I'm so glad. I'm sending much love and support to everybody. So anyway, I was walking, and two Hasidic young boys, I saw them from across the street where I was. They came over to me, and I was with a friend of mine. My friend and I said hello. They said hello, and they asked if we're Jewish. And I said, I'm non-religious. And my friend is sitting there with a cross around her neck, obviously. Okay, she's not Jewish. So he said, well, when I said to him, I'm not religious, he said, are you Jewish? I said, I'm not religious. I said, if you have something to say, please say it, because I'm willing to listen. He said, well, we're giving Jewish people free matzah and, just candles and this and that. So he says, Passover's coming over. I said, I know that Passover's coming over, so is Easter, I said, and he showed me the box, and I said to him, you're a young man, and it's so nice of you to be offering something for free, but it should be for anyone, not just for Jewish people. So he looked at me, and he said, here. And he gives me the box. And he explains, he went into like an explanation of things, and I tried to explain to him my feeling that I was a humanist, and that when you give something for free, you give it to a person, and it doesn't matter what their religion is. And we got into a little conversation, and it ended up, Chris, you're going to laugh at me. I know you are. I'm crazy. I can't help it. But he had, he was telling me about that, okay, and I listened, and I took his information, and on Passover, and he gave me the matzahs. Okay. I said to him, music is really wonderful. Have you ever heard of the Beatles? He says no. He's never heard of the Beatles. This is a young kid.
Yep.
I said to him, okay, do you have access to Google? He said, sometimes when we're allowed. Chris, I was like, I can't even explain to you, like on top of everything else. I was so mortified. I said, when you get a chance, go to Google and Google the Beatles. They're a rock group. They are the best in the world. And they tell you about love and humanity, and they're against war, and they are such a wonderful group, and you should really keep an open mind, as you have taught me to keep an open mind this day. And the both of them were it was such an experience.
That was
perfect. And I wanted to,
that was perfect.
Thanks. Really, it really was, and I wanted to share that with you. And I brought home the matzah and the candles.
That's excellent. And you gave him something to think about.
I hope I did, Chris.
You did.
Because you know what? Listen. we can only help. You know, we can't think that, you know, we could change the whole world, but it only takes one person at a time. And if you can help and do whatever you can, then we can change the way things are. Mm-hmm. And we can change, even with Scientology and their bullshit.
That's right.
Okay? Look, up until this point, it's been them all the way. But changes are a-coming, honey. And that's a song, too. I wish I had it. I'd play it up for you, Chris. I key that shit right up, okay? But yes, I think it's Bob Dylan. Times they are a-changing. They are. They
agree.
are. And we have young people coming up, and I hope that they, you know, take the education, and you give so much too. I want you to know that. And we were speaking just briefly in the beginning about how, you know, you've touched so, you know, it's all over the world that you have touched, and that's so important, Chris. It really is. The education. And Melissa, your quotes, your wisdom and love, it just permeates. And that will, it's like everything else, it has to be in the right time, but it will be. So that's my thoughts for the evening.
Thank you, Henny. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
Okay. I love you guys.
Love
Have
you.
a great night.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Wow, well, thank you, Henny.
Yeah, big time. I have never said that to a caller before, but Henny is awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Red Pill. Oh, absolutely, X-Cyan. Yeah, absolutely. Just to answer the last question of the night here. Yes, I definitely saw scam artists come into Scientology trying to run their scams on Scientologists. Absolutely, yes. Happened all the time. So much so that was one of the reasons they set up WISE, the World Institute of Scientology Enterprises, is because people were ripping off the org staff and selling their wares in the churches on the church property. And they that was all in the late 1970s, and they put a big, huge clamp down on that. Hey, on the MLM stuff, by the way, I really want you guys to check out my MLM podcast. Debbie and the other person, Katie, who are going back and forth on this. I totally get it, Katie. It's not, when I said Scientology is selling a product, I meant a real service or product that is tangible. Amway's products are bullshit. They are just a front for the framework of an MLM, which is all about manipulating and controlling each of the members to cannibalize their social network for sales prospects with the disgustingly wrong idea that this is a system of infinite expansion and they have infinite sales potential and they can be billionaires just like the people at the top of the pyramid. And it is a pyramid setup, and it's disgustingly bad and awful and evil for everybody who's not at the very, very, very top. Mm-hmm. And that is Amway and a great many other things. So that's what I can say about that in short. But check out my podcasts on MLM because they will give you all the details on it. And I do intend on doing some more serious work on MLMs in the future, but I got other projects I got to get done first. So
yeah, and if you would like to see scammers get scammed by good people, there's a lot of YouTube channels out there. Like if you technician or I'm your credit card guy calls, there's people on YouTube that call, like, get those calls and mess with those guys, and it's hilarious. So
exactly. All right, let us check out our critical thinking card for the week.
I think we've had this one before, but the placebo effect. If you believe you're taking medicine, it can sometimes work even if it's fake. The placebo effect can work for stuff that our mind influences, such as pain, but not so much for things like viruses or broken bones. Keep a healthy body and bank balance by using evidence-based medicine from a qualified doctor.
There you go. Boom. Mel nails it. All right, guys. So that is that for the week. You will see the podcast post tomorrow. Again, Will Smith, Scientology, violence, good fun stuff. And then the regular critical Q&A on Sunday.
Right.
All right, guys, thank you very much for your viewership. Guror and others, thank you very much for your support.
Yes.
Always, always appreciated. And I'm just going to throw it out there just because I don't know. Moving's expensive. So, if anybody want to show us some love, that'd be awesome. And I will see what I can do to get this bloody static fixed. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next week. We will see you guys next week.
Good night.
Bye-bye.